Guess I should call you a clown.
What, clown?
Did you see the latest Nintendo newsletter?
Whoa, nice graphics. I'd like to get my hands on that game.
You mean you haven't played it yet? We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System.
What's up, guys? This is the Story Alliance, and I wanted to share this quick story with you guys. None of my stories are ever quick, but I'm gonna make it as quick as possible, you know?
In 2012, Canada had only 543 murders. This is a pretty low number compared to the almost 13,000 in the US that year, and you can't even use the excuse of us being 10 times less populated. Per capita, Americans are still killing each other nearly 2.5 times more than Canadians are.
But anyways, I started working when I was around 17 years old. My first job was in Jack in the Box. Now I got fired 3 months after I started working there, so I was kind of panicking. I wanted to look for a job.
However, when Canadians do it, whew, we fucking do it big, it seems.
And I managed to get a temporary job at this small shop. Now, the person that was training me, I'm gonna refer to him as Casper because that's what he wanted me to call him and shit, you know? And out of respect, I'm gonna fucking call him that shit. Now, this man never spoke, man. He was supposed to be training me, but he literally never said a goddamn word to me. And just based on that alone, man, I still don't know why the hell I fucking feared the shit out of him.
Oh sure, you guys had a little beheading there not too long ago, but... In 2008, we had a guy cut a person's head off on a Greyhound bus.
Legend of Zelda, and it's really rad. Those creatures from Ganon are pretty bad.
Then show it to passengers and onlookers before he started taking bites out of the face.
Octoroks, Tektites, Libras too. But with your help, our hero pulls through.
One of the reasons why I really feared him was because he had his gang association in his fucking face. Now, if you have that shit in Los Angeles, man, that's kind of like a death sentence, you know? That's kind of like an open target. But I don't know, man. His personality was just fucking... he never said anything, but he'll scare the shit out of you with a goddamn look, man, you know?
If you fuck up, yeah, you ain't ready, let's do. If you fuck, come on.
I never fuck with him in general. I was just kind of I was always just nice, and I was like, hey, what's going on and shit, and he would just say what's up with a simple hand gesture, like, hey, how's it going? But
yeah, you guys got shootings. This year, a guy hunted RCMP officers in a small town in eastern Canada.
That's it, man, you know? And one day Casper decided that he wanted to, just hang out with me, you know? I guess he came up to me and he was just like, hey, yo, what you gonna eat today, man? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, you know? I only got $3.
Ran around neighborhoods in camo pants with a rifle, waiting for people to call the cops, and then shot them when they showed up. Canada's home to Paul Bernardo.
And he's like, what time you going? I was like, shit, I think I'm gonna hit lunch around 11.
Video games have become a $4 billion a year business.
A man who, along with his girlfriend in the early 90s, recorded himself raping and murdering teenage girls, one of which was the younger sister of his girlfriend.
Parents who buy some of those games may not realize just how much violence they're getting. One of the most vicious games is called...
And currently on trial...
And he's like, alright, so alright, then I'll go to lunch at 11 too. Let's both go to McDonald's.
She gave her to him as a present. Happy birthday! Here's my teenage sister. Have fun!
Alright, clown of the week. for the week September 19 to September 25 goes to our dear Prime Minister, Mrs. Portia Simpson Miller. Yes, I'm going there tonight.
No.
I'm going there tonight, and you'd like this, damn. Have a seat. Alright, as we all know, the PNP held their annual conference.
Like, when that type of shit happens, man, the first thing you think is like, yo, what the hell did I say to this guy to anger him? I'm about to get murdered on the way to McDonald's and shit.
Here in Canada for one of those 543 murders in 2012 is Luca Magnotta.
No one's gonna find my body because this guy knows how to make shit disappear. So I remember punching out, and we were walking to McDonald's, and he was kind of like, hey yo man, my mom tells me that you're very big into making music, and that's cool, man. I wish I know how to do that shit. I do some rapping on the side, and I was like I was just amazed that this dude was actually talking to me, man, because he didn't speak to anybody else. Like, at the time, he was just speaking to me differently than just differently, man. You know, it's like it was an honor almost, man. So I started talking about music production, and I would like to consider myself a funny person.
In clownery. It's excellent.
It's Nightly Fix on News Talk 93 FM.
Give it to me, baby.
And it was almost an honor to make this dude laugh, man. I don't remember the joke, or I don't remember how I rephrased one of his phrases and shit, but he laughed, dude, and I never seen the dude laugh. So I thought it was a goddamn...
Portia Simpson Miller gave a most rousing speech. Her eloquent oration inspiring countless Jamaicans across the land. Let's hear a clip of that soul-stirring speech, shall we?
Our debt is coming down. Government expenditure as a share of GDP has been reduced. We are doing less with more money.
Say what now?
We are doing less with more money. We are doing less with more money. We are doing less with more money.
Let me tell you about this sick fuck. He murdered a man named Lin Jun, stabbed him, chopped him up, filmed the whole process and posted it online, and then mailed pieces of the body to 2 different elementary schools, as well as to the headquarters of the Liberal and Conservative parties.
Compliment the way that shit happened. Now, when we hit McDonald's, he asked me, it's like, hey, what are you gonna get? And I was like, man, I'm looking at the goddamn dollar menu. So he's like, nah, man, hey, what do you want, man? Get a goddamn combo and shit. I was like, I'm not really used to eating combinations, you know. I only know what the dollar menu tastes like. He's like, alright, man, well, fuck it, dude. Hey, don't worry about it. Give you $3. I'm gonna get you a Big Mac combo. And I was like, damn. Yo, that's fucking cool.
How non-partisan of him. They found the torso in the garbage outside his home, which you don't have to be Dexter to know that's not a good place for disposal. And they caught him after he fled the country. He was in Berlin in an internet cafe, and someone noticed he was reading articles about himself.
Cool, man. So I got my food, we ate and shit, and then we just kept going back to work, and ever since then, man, that dude would just kind of let me in to his fucking life and allow me to pick his brain. And I think that to me was one of the biggest honors anyone has ever allowed me, just allow me to be a part of. Because this dude fucking, the way he would speak, man, and the way that he would present himself, man, it was unlike anything I ever heard before, man. Like, all I saw was his tattoos and his crazy appearance and fucking battle scars and shit, and And one day I asked him, it's like, hey Casper, why the hell they call you Casper, man? And fuck, man, like I don't even think I expected the answer that I got. That was the first time he actually spoke to me about his gang association. What had happened was that, like maybe 20 years, when I met him 20 years before that, there was the Salvadorian Civil War. Now, this man waited for a sniper to get killed by one of the militias from that war, and he picked up the sniper from that corpse. Damn, that's evil, man. I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah, he picked up the sniper and shit, and
just admiring his work via CNN or whatever. Now, the reason I don't have to put allegedly in front of any of this is because he's admitted to all of it. He's not disputing that he did it. He is, however, pleading not guilty on the grounds of being mentally ill and therefore not criminally responsible.
Uh-oh. It seems quiet. Somebody has her wig on a little bit too tight. Dam.
Quiet.
Yeah, quiet. Tell him something, please.
Wait, let's finish.
Hold on.
And he kept it. And what he would do is, like, I guess he would mention them as the enemy, right? You know, like rival gang members. And anyone that would fuck with him, he would hunt their house for like a couple days and shit, wait till they come out and fucking, hey, shoot to kill, you know? So he would tell me, it's like they call me Casper because I always have a smile.
And what else is there to say about this, really? No, we never think this was a blunder, you know, honestly. But honestly, thing, she was just being honest. This was not a Freudian slip. Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, what?
I fucking hate that this is a thing, that this is a possible outcome. Of course he's mentally ill. No normal human being wakes up one day and says, I'm gonna find a guy and film myself killing him. I'm gonna send his body parts all around the country. I guess I'll go have lunch, maybe catch a movie later tonight. I think Guardians is still playing somewhere. Of course he's fucking insane.
Behold, the Polaroid camera. But where did it come from? Meet Edwin Land, born in 1909 in Connecticut.
You don't need to waste the government's money and a jury's time figuring that out. He apparently posted videos of himself killing kittens. Take on the cat video genre on YouTube perhaps, but it just adds to the ever-piling mountain of evidence that this guy's a fucking whack job.
He's like, yeah, I always have a smile. And I was like, dude, I've never seen you fucking laugh. He's like, nah, man, I'm always laughing. What are you talking about? I was like, oh, shit, you know what, dude? Yeah, you're right. I always see you laughing and shit. I'm not going to debate with you about that shit. He's like, nah, but you know what I'm saying? I always have a smile, but I got that name because nobody ever saw it coming, I guess. Now, when I tell you this story, man...
When he was younger. A fresh...
Mortal Kombat. The objective is to finish off your opponent violently. Another method is decapitation.
I can't tell you the way that he told me, man. When he fucking told me that story, I goddamn nearly shit myself out of fear. You know? I never seen a man fucking tell a story about how he used to murder people with a goddamn smile on his fucking face. And you know, he was just an evil fucking person. He was a good guy, but he was just evil, you know? And then he started kind of telling me a lot of stories, and I don't want to share a lot of the stories that he told me and shit.
Banned that these are not harmless toys, that they can indeed cause great emotional and other damage to the child.
But his mother one day stepped up to me and she was like, hey, you know, she's like, you know what, the storylines, it's so nice that my son has a friend because he has no friends, you know?
But because he's a goddamn lunatic, he's not criminally responsible, and he might get to go live in an institution instead of go to an actual prison where he might actually be someday deemed cured and allowed to walk away. Imagine you're the family of the victim and the verdict is that he's not responsible for the death of your son, brother, whatever.
And I was like, oh, that's cool, man. You know, hey, I'm just glad we're cool. You know, I didn't want to be his friend at first. I thought he was an asshole and shit. She's like, yeah, man, you know, when he comes home and shit and we're eating dinner, he just fucking repeats your jokes. Like, hey, you know what the storyline said? That fool's fucking funny, man, or this dude's crazy.
Brother, that's not like B-Body do it. At least B-Body correct himself. Right? She even pierce herself and place emphasis on it. Can you hear one more time, please? One more time.
We are doing less with more money. We are doing less with more money.
Yep, she's talking the truth. Since assuming office in 2011, the Jamaican dollar has slid from $82 to $113. Therefore, the government is doing less with more money because of the devaluation of the Jamaican dollar. The Jamaican debt has increased to $2 trillion. So what I say makes perfect sense, don't it? Yeah. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world, right? As I'm constantly reminded by people who comment on our interview currently. Go watch that, by the way, that's a must see. Yeah, but I'd like to think that any speech by a prime minister or a president of a country is written by the leader themselves or by them speechwriters and vetted by other departments. Am I right, Ari?
That's a safe assumption.
That's a safe assumption, yeah? I'd also like to think that the leader spends time reading over the speech several times, numerous times. Am I wrong for assuming that,
You're
Ari?
not wrong.
Okay, so with that being said, please give our Prime Minister, the most honorable Portia Simpson Miller, the loudest clown honks, please.
This is what he said and shit. And his mother told me, it's like, before we didn't even have conversations and shit. And now it's like, now we're having conversations about you, you know, how funny you are and how good of a kid is. And how he's gonna help you to not ever join like a gang association and shit.
Understand that these are not harmless boys, that they can indeed cause great emotional and other damage to the child.
It wasn't him, it was the illness.
And I thought it was cool, man, you know, like I think that was one of the nicest things that probably anyone's ever told me before.
How the
it's still evil, you know, you know what I'm saying? But she also told me this story, man. She's like, they walked into like a Rite Aid or like a store, you know.
Fuck would you feel? Maybe something like this? Oh man, well that sucks about his illness.
Like Target or something like that. And everyone, like there were people so uncomfortable with having him there that people left the fucking building because of how crazy he looked.
I really hope that poor fellow was able to get the help he needs. Who's thinking that? I would bet even Mother Teresa would have thought, fucking just drag him out into the woods and put the cocksucker down. I discussed my feelings on this and
he was just fucking buying shirts, you know? He was just buying shirts and a soda and shit, and people just were afraid to just be around him. And I thought it was pretty cool, man. Unfortunately, like Casper made the decision to go back to Texas because I guess that someone was dating his ex-girlfriend and shit, and he didn't think it was like really appropriate on his part.
My video about Vincent Lee and the death penalty. When you have someone like this, someone like the Boston bomber brother that didn't do everyone a favor and fucking die, or that asshole James Holmes who thought he was the Joker and shot up a theater.
80% of people in America that hear me go, oh, geez, here's a crazy conservative on TV screaming about the dangers of video games.
But I got to speak to him maybe like a year after he went back to Texas, and he...
But like it or not, here's the point tonight.
told me, it's like, yo, the story, man. Yo, when you gonna come and visit, yo? You know what I'm saying? Hey, I got the hookup right here, you know? It's like, come through to Texas, man. I'm gonna show you around. And
we are training our kids to be killers, and we are training our sons to treat women like whores.
Just dispose of them. I've heard all this shit about the death penalty being more expensive on the system than keeping someone in prison, but this is because they're doing it wrong.
And I don't know, man. I think the thing that I regret the most is I got promoted to manager, and I don't even know what ended up happening. I just know that I cut that conversation short, and that was the last time I spoke to him. And like later on, I found out that he unfortunately like passed away.
You see, in a death penalty case, after the trial is over and they're found guilty, they put them in prison for a while. There are appeals, the case goes to higher courts, which means judges that cost more money. During this time, they have to keep them isolated, can't just toss them in with the rest of the regular animals in the kennel. They get special treatment. Here's how it would work if I was in charge.
And I think that really made me sad, man. You know, I may look like an asshole or an evil individual.
If you plead guilty, you get to choose how they kill you, and they do it within 24 hours. You get a last meal, you get to say goodbye to your family, maybe watch a favorite movie one last time. You get one last day of being treated like a human being, one more than you gave your victim. If you plead innocent and waste the court's time before they find you guilty, once the verdict is read, they drag you into the bathroom and drown you in the toilet after members of the victim's family take turns shitting and pissing in it.
But when I heard of this man passing away and shit, like I felt like, man, the last conversation I could have had with that dude, I cut it short, man, you know? And this dude really let me into his goddamn life, and hey, you know, hey, yeah, I didn't want to turn this story into a sad thing, but...
No, I don't think every murder case should be like this. But the really fucked up ones where there's no question that the person was guilty and they did weird shit, just do everyone a favor.
But I'm never gonna forget this man, you know, like I know that if he was here, man, and that if he knew what I was doing on YouTube, not only would he insist of like rapping in one of my songs or being a part of the production, but he would really be proud of just the small progress I'm doing, you know?
And none of this not criminally responsible bullshit. You stabbed or shot a person or did some other weird fucked up thing to them? I don't care what a doctor says, you're responsible. In Canada, though, it's never gonna happen. I don't know why, but the same country that breeds some of the sickest motherfuckers on the planet also wants to take care of them. And not in the Sopranos way, but in the Grey's Anatomy way.
And I think that's the end of the story right there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Well, I do have to add, you can actually find him on YouTube, but you're not gonna find him towards the name Casper. You're gonna have to go through some National Geographic documentaries about gang violence in fucking El Salvador.
Well, if we kill them, we're no better than they are. Yes, we are. We're much better. We didn't film ourselves carving a man up like a turkey and then mail his parts from coast to coast. So, 2 things to take away from all of this.
Because when they're interviewing gang members in the prisons, like my friend fucking appears and shit, and he's one of the dudes that is describing some of the most horrible acts possibly ever committed, you know. And I'm not saying that to brag, you know. I didn't know him like that. I knew him as a cool guy, you know, and I knew him as a decent person. I never saw anything fucked up about him. But yeah, dude, that's how that's how I spent a lot of years hanging out with a goddamn serial killer, and I didn't even know what the fuck, other than he was just a cool guy.
Number 1, Canadians are still pussies when it comes to dealing with criminals and always will be. And number 2, I don't know if it's something in our air, the water, or the fact that we make people listen to Bryan Adams on the radio all day, but we've churned out some assholes that can compete with the worst in the world for the title of Sociopath of the Century. Not something to be proud of, but we suck at everything else, so I guess we'll take what we can get.
Thank God I never angered him, you know, like, that dude was a goddamn real deal, but anyways, I don't know, man. I just wanted to share that shit with you guys, and I guess the lesson is don't ever judge a book by its cover. The book may be fucked up, man, but you can always learn from just anything, and I'm glad I did. So with that said, guys, we'll see you guys on the next one.